Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the live, y'all. How are y'all doing? Hello, it's a beautiful Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 researched things, how to date to marry today. Now, these are things that I came up with. These were not things that, I just found somewhere based on over 30 days of me researching marriage and satisfying marriages at that. These are the 10 things that I say one must do in order to prepare for marriage and how to date for marriage. Okay, so this is going to be a very interesting conversation today. I'm super happy to have it. Hey Andrew, how are you doing today? Shout out to you being the first person on the live and to like the live. So yeah, y'all, this is our last conversation about marriage. I'm kind of happy about it because I really like how the conversations end up like being summarized at the end and how we make sense of everything at the last few lives that we do. So I think these are probably the most, well, honestly, all the lives are very valuable, but the way that we can summarize everything at the end, it's a true value, honestly. So that's what I'm excited about today, is just taking all the knowledge that we learned over this past, November. And I think we even maybe have started in October having this conversation. So being able to summarize everything, it makes me feel really good. So yeah, I don't have a question for today. I think that maybe I'll figure out one later, but for today I'm just going to leave it at this for where we are right now. How's my day? I had a good restful day. Very restful. I got to get a lot of rest in, so that's what I am most appreciative of. I think this will probably be one of my only days like this, so I had to really take advantage of it today. How was your day? Y'all know I'm not usually on here on Tuesdays, so let's see who come on here on Tuesdays. On today's Tuesday. And that's interesting. They only have the option to create a poll. Where's the Q&A option? Okay, there's a Q&A option, but I have to do it on my phone. Okay. Thank y'all for liking the video. How y'all doing? Hey, John. Hey, y'all. So with all of this, I was really thinking about doing a challenge, like an identity alignment challenge. So I've been really thinking about something like that, maybe like a few days where we do like something maybe off YouTube, but it'd be like a personal, like we're someone more personal and we can communicate, and we do an identity alignment challenge so people feel more aligned to who they feel like they want to be. But I just been thinking about it. It's been on my mind. I know I have so many things to do with everything. Like I still have to do the Q&A video, which I'll do it sometime this week. And I still have a couple of more things that I need to do with this channel, y'all. But that's just been one thing I was thinking about, because I'm like, if it's not one thing that I really know when it comes to inner work, one thing that it is supportive to is I like aligning to who you want to be. And y'all know the one story I told you guys about realizing, and that's one of like the most valuable things that I've ever experienced, is realizing that I've manifested where I am today at this very moment. And just like being in that state of realizing is such a beautiful energy to be in. So, that is the purpose of inner work. Before we even get into it, let me go ahead and introduce myself. I know people love to ask, what's your name? What's your name? Who are you? What do you do? Hey everybody, my name is Meiana. I am a sage woman, and I'm also the inner work coach. I support people like you who are disconnected, overwhelmed, to do the inner work, whether that's mindset or emotional regulation, so that you can align to who you want to be in this lifetime. I help you identify your limiting beliefs, and I help you see patterns that you probably have not yet recognized in your life. If you're interested in becoming more self-aware and getting support in identifying your limiting beliefs, go ahead and book a free 15-minute consultation down below. In 15 minutes, I will hear at least one limiting belief. So go ahead and book it. I'll see y'all later. Hello, Kazim. How are you? Welcome back. Andrew, you said my journey has shown a lot. It's very interesting and difficult to understand for most. What do you mean? What do you mean your journey? Yeah, we about to get into it, but I've been really trying to decide how to take the health conversation. I have like the direction that we're going to be taking it, but I still haven't yet figured out like each step, if you know what I mean. Like getting the conversations for all these other conversations, like the money talk we had, leisure talk, even the marriage talk, those conversations was more like, oh, you know, I was interested in marriage and culture. I was interested in marriage and like sexual intimacy, spirituality in marriage. Like I had certain interests, but when it comes to health, I definitely have certain interests, but I don't want it to be so like, stop eating sugar. Like, you know, because that's already who I am, you know. I don't want it to be so like that. So I'll give y'all little hints of how I'm taking the conversation. Maybe y'all can give me a little bit of more information. But y'all know I love etymology. And we're going to get started in the conversation in just a second, y'all. We're going to get started in just a second. So, y'all know I love etymology. When you look into the word health in etymology, it means wholeness, being that's whole, sound, or well. Fast forward, you look more deeper into what these things mean. And you see that someone who is unhealthy just sins a lot. So it gets real spiritual. Health gets real spiritual. It get a little religious. But I'm not a religious person. So I'm going to take it to the spiritual aspects. And we're going to talk about those aspects. About the divine laws that people naturally break that destroys their health. And it interrupts their ability to make sound decisions for themselves. That's what I'm thinking. We'll talk more about it later. And I noticed on the last live, some of the people are asking about when I go live. I go live Sundays at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. or 11:30 sometimes, depending on what's going on. But typically it's 11 a.m. And then on Mondays, I go live at 6 p.m. Sometimes it's 6:30, it depends, but most of the time it's 6 p.m. So catch me around those times, Central Time, if you're interested in catching a live. I know some people asked me that and I didn't get to read it. And so I didn't get to respond to y'all. So I wanted to say that out loud now. Hi, that weird guy. You said you were speaking about your journey. LO, not what you're saying. We can. Oh, okay. Hey, Patrick. How are y'all doing today? So we're going to go ahead and get started. You know, I have a question now. I'm going to have to put it over here. What is a core value for you? That's the question for today. But I can't do it on a computer, so I'm going to have to put it right here. What are your values? Make sure y'all like the live, y'all. So, thank you, Patrick. Can y'all let me know if y'all can see this question that I just put up? Can y'all see it? Sounds a little racist. Sounds a little racist. Okay, you see it? I wonder why, like, if you can't see it on different, like I'm on my computer, I can't see the Q&A. I wonder if you can just see it on the phone. That's probably why you can only add it to the phone. That sucks for anybody who's not on their phone, but we'll go ahead and get started either way. Bonsoir. Hey, Rico. I'm doing well. It's a good day. Happy Tuesday, one delish. Hello. Yeah, didn't it, John? Ain't got time for the racism today. We grown. Okay, it's 2025. Let's be so for real. Let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 steps to prepare for marriage while dating. This is the information that I've collected over time. I feel like these are the 10 things that if you focus on these things and you want to be married, you will be able to have a successful, more satisfying marriage compared to other people who are just getting married for love. Let's prepare ourselves. That's how we manifest the best of the best. It's by preparation, right? You knock, and the door opens. That's your value, Patrick, to love me and to give me whatever I need and want. Speaking of giving me whatever I need and want, we're going to go ahead and say thank you. Donate to the channel, please. Channel here. Cash App L Nina 1. Thank you guys for whoever decides to donate today. I'm showing gratitude prior. Cash App. There we go. Okay, friend. So we're gonna go ahead and pin that. Somebody said you can have my whole Walmart check. Okay. So now that we have that pin, let's talk about it. If y'all go ahead and post y'all's values today. Y'all know me, my values are number one, education and growth. Like, those are my biggest things, because I feel like through education, learning things and mastering things is how you get freedom. If you're not able to master the things that you're learning, have a deep understanding, profound enough, and have the intelligence to, communicate your knowledge in various ways, then, it's not valuable, So my education, that when I say education, I don't mean just going to school and just sitting there and watching somebody teach you. Like, I mean actually having knowledge that you deeply understand and that you can apply in various areas of your life. That is what I consider mastering knowledge. So that's one of my biggest values. That's probably why I work with children. And I value, seeing knowledge in various ways. So, like, y'all know I'm really big on communication. That's what I study. That's what I love. And being able to take communication and then apply that in manifestation. Taking communication and applying that in mindset. There's so many ways that you can take communication and, like, blast off with it. So those are a few of my values. You see, that's probably why I come on here and I discuss things with you, about education. I'm always teaching. I'm a teacher at heart. And I'm a sage woman. So sage women are naturally going to be educated, very wise. So, okay. Yeah. Hey, Mohammed, how are you doing? Yeah, these people are crazy. Y'all crazy. So let's get into the conversation. Y'all go ahead, if y'all haven't, put y'all's values, because I'm not seeing anybody's values in the chat. So here is number one. This is the first step that you need to do. If you are looking to prepare yourself for marriage, you want to make sure you get into a satisfying marriage that has a low divorce risk. Here is what you need to know. You first need to build a personal stability first. Now, inner work consists of maintaining. Inner work is maintenance. If you're not in the inner work to overcome, once you get to a solid, stable point, you get into a maintenance stage. So the first thing you want to do if you're preparing for marriage is build personal stability. So understand that stability is definitely the roots of your marriage. Marriages are going to be for the rest of your life. Right? So there's going to be a sense of stability needed in order to maintain a marriage. So the research that we've done shows that emotional regulation, consistent habits, and a sense of personal direction have significantly higher marital satisfaction. And emotional stability allows partners to handle conflict without escalating into disrespect, stonewalling, or abandonment. So, we want to make sure that we are being people that will aid in having a satisfying marriage. If we want a satisfying marriage, we have to build that within ourselves first so that it manifests outwardly and we can, have a positive, supportive relationship with our partner. How far are you? How are you today? I'm doing well. How are you doing? So, personal stability, it includes financial steadiness, it includes a supportive lifestyle, living a lifestyle that you actually enjoy as well. Inability to maintain your own emotional needs, right? When you have your own personal stability, it's going to be difficult for you not to be autonomous. You have your own personal stability, you can rely on yourself and be self-sufficient. And we're not saying that you need to be dependent on anybody in a marriage, nor am I saying you need to be fully independent from somebody. We want to make sure that when we get into a marriage, it's an interdependence that occurs. It's a symbiotic relationship where it's a give and take, but you can be on your own without struggling, emotionally, financially, all those things. So, we need to make sure that you can meet your own emotional needs. Like, you get sad, it's not like you need somebody else to validate your emotions, right? Or to come and fix you, because you know how to do that yourself. You know how to regulate yourself. So again, when I say this doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect. You're not a perfect person. You're going to have to still learn and have trial and errors in any relationship and any experience. But what it just means is that you have the coping skills, you have the routines, and you have the self-awareness before you enter into a lifelong union, a sacred union at that. So when you stabilize yourself, you reduce those anxiety-based reactions that you may have. You can create clarity and you can show up as a whole partner without projecting yourself or your burdens on your partner. We know a lot of issues come from these things because of some people go into partnership marriages without being stable individuals on their own. So, okay. Hey Daniel. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much. So, another thing that you want to make sure you do before another step, that was step 1 that you need to definitely look into. Step 2 is just as important. Remember, all of these are very important. Make sure you guys double tap the live, like the live. Thank you guys so much for coming to the channel today. George said respect and vulnerability. Okay. Okay, I love that. Well, thank you, Barney. So, anywho, the second thing that you want to make sure that you do while you're preparing for marriage and entering into a union that will be very satisfying for you is to heal yourself before you commit. We are all human. We all have trauma. And it'd be so many people who they just cannot take accountability for their life because they'd be like, oh my God, I just have the worst trauma. And they will just feel like they should have a shitty life still to this day because of the trauma that they experienced when they were 8 years old. So let's not continue to drag the 8-year-old trauma into our 30-year-old life. Okay, let's go ahead and find the ability to do the work to make peace with it, understand it, and move past it. We should not allow these traumas in our childhood or even in our young adult lives to be an anchor in our life and to keep us down. The anchors in our life should be more positive, valuable things such as family, friends, passions. Those should be our anchors. Our leisure time should be our anchors. But we don't want trauma to be our anchor, especially in a relationship, because it will completely change how you perceive your everyday relationship. So unhealed childhood wounds, trauma, even your attachment patterns don't disappear in marriage. Honestly, your attachment patterns are going to be how you choose your partner. We see how different certain people don't like certain races because they experienced their mother who is that race and they don't like their mother. So now they don't date any woman of that race because now if they date a woman of that race, they see and hear their mother. They can't help it because it's a subconscious pattern. Because they have such an unhealthy relationship with their mother, it's a subconscious pattern and it makes them not want to see anybody who even resembles or is associated with the concept of anything of their mother, right? That's an unhealed trauma. So, you know, understand that when you get in partnership, a spousal relationship, those traumas will intensify. You're going to be around somebody who is going to make you think more and become more self-aware. So, studies on adult attachment show that our early relationship blueprint become the lens we interpret love. So, if you had a mom who loved you, you're going to be a very loving and caring person, right? You're probably it's going to be easier for you to attach to people. Or if you had someone who was inconsistent with you, you're going to view relationships as inconsistent and may not trust people as easily. That doesn't mean that you are the problem. It just means that we have to become more self-aware so that we can make better decisions about how we're going to go about our life. So, you know, those early attachment wounds or attachment patterns that we've had will support us in interpreting the love that we receive, the conflict that we have, the closeness that we can have with the individual, and the threats that we may perceive in those relationships. So, you know, examples would be if you grew up with unpredictability, intimacy might feel dangerous. If you were ignored, criticism might feel like abandonment. Or even if you never saw repair model, conflict may feel like the end. And I can be very honest and say that when I was younger, I didn't see repair modeled. So when one of my biggest bad habits in relationships was cutting people off. We have a disagreement. Okay, blocked. Never talk to you again. Bye. Thank you. So it was definitely a pattern that I had to become aware of because it was hindering my ability to have close relationships, repair conflict, and become cool again. Because conflict shouldn't be the end all be all. If these people are healthy for you, you know, they're good people overall. So, you know, marriage can definitely be a mirror for a lot of people. And it exposes the unhealed aspects of you, the more insecure parts of yourself. It can definitely expose those things. So healing beforehand means that you may be going to therapy. If you are an adult and if you are an adult, saying this again, if you are an adult and you have never even been to at least one therapy session or talked to one counselor or had one mentor, you got a lot of work to do, baby. Because you need people who are above you, who can see from the outside and give you unbiased opinions and support you through the process of seeing yourself and healing. So again, that's going to mean that you need to probably do some therapy. This is the work to overcome this trauma or make peace with your trauma. You need to do some journaling. You need to do some self-reflection. You need to learn. These are things that you're going to have to do so that you can overcome your trauma and understand your patterns, those emotional patterns that you have where you react in certain ways and you trying to figure out why can't I? And it's because you have a particular pattern in your life that you're not paying attention to. So when partners heal before commitment, they create marriages where problems are handled with insight instead of being so reactive. We don't want to be emotionally reactive and then that be the downfall of a relationship that could have lasted ages, you know. So okay. What are we talking about? So you ultimately can't let anyone dictate your character and actions. I don't let how, based on their actions, I treat them the same as I would regardless of what to do or how they are. Okay. So that was number 2. Of course, number 3 and 4 are going to kind of come into similar, like they're kind of similar. But 4 is you have to learn how to communicate. Hey, y'all. I'm a communication specialist. Did you guys know that? That's actually what I study is communication disorders, the pathology of communication. So, you know, there's various reasons why there are communication breakdowns for individuals or why people are not able to communicate. There's nonverbal communication and verbal communication. And as I always tell you guys, communication is just the exchange of information. You're exchanging information to another person through a certain medium. Gemini vibes for sure. What's going on today? What is going on today? What is going on? Gotta block so many people so far. What's going on? So, communication is definitely the delivery system of your emotions. Those. It's another person to block. What's going on? You better block me, Gary. Is that what you meant to say? You want me to block you? Hi, let me know. If that's what you meant to say, I'll block you right now. Hello, Agbogun Precious. Hello, hello. So, your communication is going to deliver those emotions that people need to be aware of, such as love, your needs, the fears you have, and the repair that needs to occur in your relationship. So most divorces are rooted in poor communication habits long before those big issues appear. And, these things that can disrupt your communication abilities is interrupting your partner when they're trying to get their thoughts out, when they're trying to communicate their information. Being defensive, avoidance, shutdown, indirect hints, so not even being direct and being clear about what you're talking about, and also being reactive. I will also add, like, not taking things seriously. If somebody's trying to communicate with you, some people don't feel comfortable with conflict repair yet. So if you felt like you are not feeling comfortable with conflict repair, you have to be aware. And you have to be aware if your partner doesn't feel like that either, because they may have behaviors that disrupt the ability to repair whatever conflict that is occurring. These are things that you have to learn before you get married, because you don't want to have to learn these things during marriage. You want to make sure you know how to do these prior to marriage, and you're doing these in a dating phase, so that once you're married, it may not be 100% smooth sailing, but it's gonna be easier for you. Rico said, I hate the indirect stuff. Be direct. Okay. Some Mariana. Who's Mariana? Are you a Virgo? Somebody's asking if I'm a Virgo. They need to hear this, Andrew. They need therapy. Don't they all need therapy? Go to therapy. Go to therapy. Okay, thank you, Precious. So, healthy premarital communication is going to include I statements. I feel. I need. Here's how I see it. This is how I'm perceiving it. This is why I'm thinking this way. This is all, like, y'all have to understand, and I can't really give you an image of what it looks like, but people communicate like this. People have the concept of a bear, right? There's so many different types of bears, but people have a certain concept. So you have this, and then you have a branch that leads to the color. You have a branch that leads to the type. You have a branch that leads to the environment that the bear is in. So when people say bear, if they have the ability to perceive it in their mind, they have a whole vision of what that bear looks like. So when I say bear, I think brown big bear, grizzly, hibernation, cave, and or forest. That's what I'm thinking. Outside, daylight. If I could draw a picture, it will help you understand better. But for somebody else, I say bear, they might think polar bear, white, Antarctica. So we start to get talking about bears. There could be a communication breakdown just on the aspect of the type of bears we're talking about if we never communicate to the extent of how we're perceiving it, So this is why you want to make sure that when you are communicating, your spouse or the person that you are preparing for a marriage is able to perceive what you are saying the way that you want it to be perceived. Think polar bear. It's all cold out here. Hey to cook. Okay. So again, you want to make sure that your nonverbal communication is aligned to what you are trying to allow your partner to perceive you as. So your nonverbal communication is going to include your tone. How loud are you speaking? That's going to be your tone. What does your body language looks like? Is your body language closed off or opened up? Are you facing towards your partner, or are you facing away from your partner when you're speaking? And how's your presence in all general. You know, how are you dressed up? You know, how quick are you speaking? These, sorry, y'all. These are going to be the nonverbal cues that's going to help your partner understand how to perceive the information that you're saying. Hey, Wayne. And then you have to also, if you're dating interculturally, you have to remember that everybody's culture raised them differently. And so they may communicate differently. And then also you're going to have the ability to have repair skills during communication. So if you don't understand what they're saying, you have to be able to say, I honestly don't understand what you mean. Can you rephrase it? Can you repeat yourself? I didn't hear a certain part. How about we restart the conversation? Oh, do you have a visual so I can see what you're talking about? I can't grasp it. And that's a little bit of accountability as well, and being honest about, you know, what you are thinking. So, what up? Whew, so many people today. Y'all got a crush on me? Okay, thanks. Some people hate repeating themselves. Well, if you hate repeating yourself, then communication gonna be difficult for you because not everybody understand you the first time. Like, one time I was having a conversation at work, and one thing that I do, honestly, is when someone says something to me and I'm trying to grasp it, I'll re-say what they're saying. But I noticed that, I think it may be because of my background, my own culture. Sometimes when I ask questions, I'm not asking a question. It sounds like a statement, but it's a question. So if you say, oh, the sun is yellow today, I'm going to be like, the sun is yellow today? And so I remember having a conversation with somebody. I was trying to get some information about something, and I was repeating what they were saying so I can grasp what they were saying, and also for them to clarify it. And they had an attitude with me. And I'm like, you got an attitude with me? Why you got an attitude with me, baby? Because all I'm doing is trying to make sure I understand what you're talking about. Like, don't get an attitude with me, baby. It's not even that important. So, you know, great communication is not about saying the best, longest words in the world. You don't got to be all educated. I know some people be like, you so educated. You don't have to say the best words in the world. Come here, baby. You don't have to be all classy when you're communicating. We just want to make sure that the information is understood and perceived correctly by the person you're trying to talk to. It's about being honest. It's about clarifying as much as you need to. It's about feeling emotionally safe so that you can feel comfortable communicating. And if you can clearly express your feelings and needs, you make partnership and co-creation you make that relationship more about partnership and co-creation instead of a guessing game. Okay? You don't want people to just be guessing, you know, different things. Hey, moving forward, say if you repeated the question, I think you being sarcastic. Yeah, so there's that communication breakdown where one person may perceive something differently than the other person is being, you know, their purpose. So that, and if that was you and I was to ask you the question in that way, your response will be, are you being sarcastic? For clarification, let me clarify. Are you being sarcastic or are you being for real? And I would be like, I'm being dead ass serious. Okay? No, I wouldn't say that at work. But, you know, just come to an understanding. Yeah. Just be yourself. People got to be real with their significant other, clear cut and straightforward. Yeah. You got to be the realest with them. Okay, Keegan. Well, thank you. Okay, Precious said, don't do the negative comments. Yes. Okay, Precious. Thank you. Yes, I will stop. See, people hate repeating themselves, not saying I do. I don't mind making sure they understand. Yeah. So I would just say, if you hate repeating yourself, communicate that. Just communicate it. I don't like repeating myself, so I'm going to say this one more time. And boom, that's just how it is. That's the importance of communication. I need to be able to just say this one time. What are you missing? So I can just say these things one time and not repeat myself. What do you need for me to not be repeating myself so much? So number 4, but not everybody knows how to ask those things and get their needs met. You know, that's one of the biggest issues, that a lot of people are not communicating their needs clearly. So number 4, again, this goes into what we were just talking about. You have to have the ability to practice rapid repair in conflict skills. So the number one predictor of lasting marriages is not the conflict itself, it's how quickly people are able to overcome that conflict. Um, so the speed and quality of your conflict repair is more important when you're preparing for marriage. And the Gottman research shows that couples who repair within minutes to hours instead of days or weeks maintain the highest satisfaction in their relationships. So we want to make sure that you are maintaining the high satisfaction in your marriage, are preparing in your preparation for marriage as well. So make sure that when you have a conflict and you are feeling like you're not on the same page with your partner, you quickly, maybe you need a little break. So maybe it won't be minutes. Maybe you say, I need like 30 minutes. And you say, give me like 30 minutes. Let's talk about this. And let's get over this. Let's come to an understanding. And one thing about it for me, I like to overly communicate. I know that some people get frustrated with me because I do like to overly communicate. And if I have an issue with something, until I feel like safe in my heart about it, I will bring it up. So like, for example, if you step on my toe a lot of times, you step on my foot like 3-4 times, okay, I'm gonna be like, why do you keep stepping on my foot? You could come back and say, that's an accident, I'm so sorry, but I'm still confused. So my confusion is still in my heart. I gotta keep bringing this up. You keep stepping on my foot. What am I missing? Well, then that's for that other person to respond and say, well, I am a little clumsy. I'm really not paying attention to you. And then I'm going to be like, why are you not paying attention to me? A lot of people get frustrated with me. I'm not going to lie. But that's just who I am. If you cannot help understand, then I'm going to try to figure it out on my own. And you're not going to like when I figure it out on my own because it's going to take me a minute. If you just communicate with me, we going to figure it out. Somebody said this is not Bible study. I'm dead. Oh, no. Y'all are hilarious. We said, well, sometimes words can mean different emotions. Okay. You not dating right now? Yeah, you don't have to date to get this information. Hey, Elf and Elf. I'm just gonna call you Elf. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Tasma? Okay. Moving forward. Okay. You said nah, that frustrated me that fast. Just be real. If you aren't paying attention to me, then dip. Okay, somebody call me Black Mama. Hey, bonjour. Bonjour, ¿cómo estás? So, repair can look like apologizing without having conditions on the apology. It can look like regulating yourself before speaking. So, doing a little breath work. Some people do EFT tapping. Maybe you do a little stretching. Some men, you get really frustrated. They need to go and exercise or run before communicating. So whatever you need to do, some people may even need to dance to release the anxious emotions. Whatever you need to do to regulate yourself before communicating so you're not communicating in an emotional manner, do what you need to do. Another thing that helps when you're trying to practice conflict repair is restating your partner's viewpoint exactly how they're saying it. So I do this again. That's a lot of times what I'm doing is restating what people will say so that I'm making sure that I'm on the same page as them. Oh, so you don't like to eat sushi. You don't like eating raw sushi. Okay, you don't like eating raw sushi. That's to say I hear exactly what you're saying. And then returning to softness in connection, that is the goal of rapid repair in conflict. So quick repair prevents resentment. It prevents emotional distancing, and it prevents long-term bitterness. The true killers of marriage, okay? And if you cannot repair quickly, you cannot build trust. And we know that one of the biggest things in building a relationship and partnership is trust, security, stability. So if you cannot trust your partner, it's going to lead to many more issues. you know, in general. Thank you, John. Just disrespectful. Just disrespectful. What's going on with the disrespect? So the fifth thing that you need to do, the fifth step that you need to do if you want to prepare for marriage and how to have a satisfying marriage is you need to understand your money. You need to understand your money patterns. You need to understand your partner's money patterns, and you need to understand y'all's money values. What do you guys feel comfortable spending money on? I know for me personally, I like to spend money on learning. I will spend money on mentorship, learning. If I find it valuable and I feel like it's going to help me master what I'm figuring out right now, I will spend a buku amount of money in, I don't know, you know, different people have different reactions to it. So I know that if somebody else did not value education and they saw me spending $1,000 on education, they're going to be more reactive to me spending that money on there, right? So money is the second leading cause of divorce, but the research shows it's not about income, right? It's about the meanings, the values, and the habits attached to that money. Why are you spending this money? You know, did I just hear a story about money? You know, I hear so many money stories. It may come to me while I'm talking about this. So, you know, while you're dating or while you're just getting to know yourself and preparing for partnership, okay. You wanna analyze the spending patterns of yourself and of anybody that you're dating. Those saving habits, are they saving? Okay, if they're not saving, y'all gonna have a big problem. If you're a big saver and they don't save anything, y'all gonna have a big problem. You want to think about the debt that you have and the debt that your partner has or the person you're dating. You want to think about the financial traumas. So some of those things could be, have you ever been evicted before? Have you ever had a car towed? That's financially traumatizing, you know? How many times have you had a car towed? Because that we can lead to responsibility at that point. You could look into different, like, you know, how many times have you moved? Those things can be financially traumatizing for people. You can think about how generous are they, or are they avoiding spending money? Is this person super generous and it's good for their money? Or are they super generous and it's their downfall because they're spending too much money and they're not prioritizing themselves first? There's different generosities, and we want to make sure we're more generous in a way that is aligned to our financial goals. What are their financial fears? What role? This is one of the biggest things that y'all need to pay attention to. What roles do you guys want to have when it comes to finances? Remember, watch the money video. When we talked about money in marriage, go watch that video. That's one of the more important videos to watch. I think I even, like, the screen says, one of the most important episodes, because we talked about the roles in marriage for finances and the economic roles that people have. So do you want to be the provider as a man or a woman? Are you okay with being the provider? Do you want gender roles where, you know, more traditional, where one person is the provider? Like Rico said, have defined roles. One person is the provider, one person is the homemaker. Do you guys both want to go out and make money? If so, what's going to happen in the home? Who's going to take care of the home? Or do you want it to be more hybrid, which is one of the more stable, more satisfying relationship models, where both people have income, but one person is the bread? Well, it doesn't always have to be the breadwinner, but, you know, one person is the one paying all the bills, you know, with their income. So how do you want it to be? What is more satisfying for you? Money transparency builds trust and emotional safety in your relationship. And financial secrecy, lying about the money, builds instability, it breaks trust, and it shows your values. Honestly, you prioritizing yourself over your relationship. Healthy marriages treat financial management as a shared mission, and regardless of who earns the money. You put it together, it's a shared mission. So knowing for yourself before you even go and get into a relationship, before you even start dating, You need to know, what type of economic model do I want to have in my relationship? Who is going to be the breadwinner? Who am I comfortable with? So that when you go out and date, you can communicate these things clearly. If it needs to be, well, it needs to be said. It needs to be said. I want to be with a man who's a provider. I want to make money, but I want my man to take care of the household needs. I want a woman who is a stay-at-home wife. I want a woman who prefers to be a homemaker. I want a woman who can still have passion and income, but I'll take care of everything. You know, these are things that you want to make sure you can communicate before you even start dating. Okay. Because if you can't communicate that, then y'all have different economic roles. People need to know their roles, because let's say that, you know, one, like, I think the example that I told you guys in the previous video was, there was a woman who I like to watch who's a cook. She cooks for her whole family, and she was going out of town for a business meeting, and she cooked for the entire week to make sure her family had food, because she knows her role in her home. And so when you know your role, you can prepare. So same for if you're the breadwinner as a man. You know that you're the breadwinner, so you can start preparing for if anything was to happen if you were no longer there. So your role can still be maintained even past your being. So that is one of the biggest things I would say y'all need to figure out if you're preparing for a healthy, satisfying marriage. I'm gonna read what y'all talking about, because I know it's been a lot of people saying stuff and I haven't been able to read it. Hey Validity, how you doing, friend? You quit your job. Validity, didn't you just get a raise? Why you quit your job? You said, I like buying assets. I jump at any chance. That seems legit. You said, I like to buy nice food for my loved ones. Demented, you must be a Taurus. Demented, are you a Taurus? Is that what it is? You said, that's what I have to work on. I'll buy something without asking my partner if she doesn't answer right away. Not in a bad way. I don't know. You gotta trust. She gotta trust you if you're gonna be doing stuff like that. Depending on how much money it is. Have to leave your ex because of financial differences. Hey, Chudy. I would be happy 50-50, but I'm happy to provide if needs be. I'll let her be in charge if she proves she can handle it. We don't want to talk about proof. We got to communicate about who is better to do that. Because we don't need her to just prove. We need communication to know, do she feel comfortable doing so? And then, yeah. But as soon as I see her slip and something doesn't get paid, I'll do it from then on. Don't mess up my credit. At that point, Andrew, you just need to be the one to do it. Yeah, you seem like you'll be the better one to do it. Because you'll be more worried about it. Different strokes for different folks, John. Somebody said, I provide only for my cats and mental health. Okay, as long as you know what you prefer to spend your money on, that's what matters. And you can communicate that. Thank you, Young. You said you have your own house, so you get scared of, you got to be careful of girls after a free ride. What you giving out free rides for? Okay. You said, yeah, stay home, but sell something online and make money while you're home. Nothing. Okay. Thank you, Claire's Diary. Thank you, Malik. Yeah, Dementia said, yeah, I'm a Taurus. Yeah, sound like a Taurus. Anybody who's a Taurus know they love good food. They love a little comfort, something that look cute. Anything 3K and over. And Andrew, I think that's that's when you have that conversation. Well, when do you want me to communicate with you? Like, what's the price range? Like, are you okay with me spending like $3,000? Because, you know, $3,000 to some people is like $100 to some people. So they be like, you don't gotta tell me you spending $3,000. Like, you spend $3,000 if you need to spend $3,000. Some people may be like, okay, it's 10K. Tell me at 10K. But that's a conversation that you have to have. Shout out to South Carolina. Okay, y'all. Y'all talking. Who call it? I ain't never called a Taurus fat. If I'm gonna call somebody fat, it's gonna be a Cancer. Sure, go ahead, spin 3K. Okay. Don't. Hopefully the Cancers don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me, Cancers. But y'all know every Cancer I see, they be a little thick. Because they like to eat. They like to cook too. So, so number 6. So we just talked about understanding your money and your money patterns. I would also like to hint towards, one more time, your money values. What are you okay with spending on money? What do you not want to spend on money? Bill, you been here before? Just trying to make sure. I think you've been here before, but I don't know. So the 6th thing that you want to do, the 6th step that you want to do. Okay, well, welcome, Bill. The 6th thing that you want to do to prepare for a marriage so you can have a satisfying marriage is you want to date slowly and observe and don't assume things. So, time reveals what chemistry may hide. 2 people can come together and really like each other initially and be very attracted to each other, but they may not be compatible. So when you date slow, it allows you to see. It allows you to see their consistency, what they're committed to. It allows you to see their values in action. It allows you to see what they're responsible for, how responsible they are. It allows you to see how generous they may be, and if that's a good or a bad thing. It allows you to see their honesty, their work ethic, their emotional maturity, and it allows you to see their self-control. Rushing prevents you from seeing whether someone's words match their patterns. And I would say, if you guys have seen that Danish deception video, y'all, I watched that whole 4-hour video, y'all. I watched that whole 4-hour video, and I was really thinking about, the conversations that we had in comparison to that video. And what I realized is some of the issues that this young lady has is she rushed every part of it. And she emphasized the fact that she was on one of those dating shows. It's a very popular dating show. She was on one of those dating shows, and she kept mentioning maybe it's the trauma from that show. Maybe it's the trauma from the show, And she basically said that she met this man. She was very attracted to him. And so when they finally got to be together, it immediately started having physical intimacy. And so they immediately had that relationship. She didn't really get to know him. She only got to know what she saw. But as time, they ended up getting married and stuff, introduced him to the family. As time told, she eventually realized that this man actually has a gambling addiction. From what she saw, she was like, oh, he's so generous. He paid for everything. When he was up, he did everything he needed to do. When he was down, she was doing everything, right? So she would emphasize oh, he took care of everything. Well, that's because that's who he is. But he has highs and lows because he has a gambling addiction that you didn't know about. But if you would have took time to really learn about this man and all the ins and outs of him, you may have not, you may have saw these patterns before committing. But it was a long distance relationship. The girl seemed like she enjoyed external validation. And I feel like that man probably validated her presence. So it was a lot of issues that I saw. You seen the gambling part? Yeah. Dementia, you said gambling is the worst addiction. Huh. Gambling debt is crazy. Yeah. And she basically was like, she wants to send him to prison because he borrowed money from everybody that they knew. He borrowed money from everybody that they knew. Mom, dad, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, friend, associate, workers, co-workers. He borrowed money from everybody. He borrowed at least $500,000. And so she like, take this nigga to jail. He not black, but that's what she trying to do now. But it was very interesting to me how she kept mentioning maybe it's the trauma from being on this dating show. And we talk about how these dating shows push people to rush relationships instead of dating slowly. Thank you, Ring. So, again, let time tell and pay attention to the small behaviors. If this man is spending a crazy amount of his own money, let's not think that he's not going to do the same when he's with you. Okay? Because some of the things that she would say, it sounded like, well, if you would have paid attention to these things, y'all was already, you know, traveling a lot when y'all didn't have any money. That's already a sign that maybe he's not financially well. She said that he made like $300,000 a year, but he always talking about how he needs to borrow money from somebody. She said that within like a month or two of them dating, he talked about not having money, you know, and needing to borrow money. So these are things that are obviously in front of people's face, but because they have some form of a chemical connection, they become delusional. They don't see it for what it is. So, you know, it's sad for her, but again, date slowly, because, you know, you'll get to get those questions answered. Okay, do they repair quickly? Do they borrow money from everybody? Do they take accountability? Do they share time and lifestyle rhythms with you? Is their lifestyle aligned to a lifestyle that you want to live? Are you a homebody and they're a partier, you know? Do they respect your boundaries? You know, you say, hey, I don't like to talk on the phone after 9 o'clock. Are they calling you at 10:03? Do their habits align with your future and the future that they say that they want? So are they accountable to themselves and the lifestyle that they want? You know, these are going to be things that you need to know. And if you just pay attention and you see the patterns, you'll see it. So, you know, dating slow isn't about being hesitant. It's about making sure that these people are who they are. It's about studying reality before building a life on top of illusions. You need to be, you know, that doesn't mean you just having phone conversations. Y'all need to go out and spend real time together. You know, I like dates like, what is it called? Like those rooms where, like the breakout rooms, that tells you how they like to problem solve, their leading skills, you know, their leading skills, things like that, their ability to act under pressure. And that's a leisure activity that you can do. So it's more playful, but you can see their behavior in those moments. So, you know, there's various different activities that you can do to kind of see how they act. Even like board games like Monopoly, you know, you can see how competitive are they? How do they handle money? These are going to be more playful ways that you can get to slowly observe people and their patterns, because how people do one thing is how they do many. Okay. Thank you, Philip. Paula said, also being careful about what friends you keep, even ones you've known for 30 years. Yeah, Paula, girl. I just seen this movie. Yeah, I just seen this movie, and y'all, it was crazy. It was crazy. So in the movie, hi. In the movie, at the end, we found out that like 2 out of 6 of this girl's friends, I don't know if it was 6, but it was like 2 out of a lot of the girl's friends, they were messing with the girl's ex-husband, and they were so-called best friends. It was crazy. And then even one of them, she started dating a guy that the guy was obsessed with the girl, but because he was trying to get close to the girl, he gave the friend some attention and was dating her. And the girl was like, that man is crazy. Like, I'm telling you what happened. We just, you know, did all these things. And she was like, you're just mad because he wants me. I said, girl, I don't know if I can handle all that. I'm scared. What film am I talking about? It was a Tubi movie, y'all. I forgot. Let me see. Is it called Don't Look Back? It was a Tubi movie. Y'all know I like me a little Tubi movie. Yeah, it's called Don't Look Back. It was in 2024. Who needs enemies? But guess what, Rico? They all, you know what? Some of y'all gonna watch the movie. I'm not gonna tell y'all what. I'm not gonna tell y'all what I was about to say. Some of y'all gonna watch that movie. It was a good movie. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, you'll even get to see their friends and how they are with their friends. I think that paying attention to the type of friends that someone has is very important. You love the accent? Okay, thank you. So if you see that their friends are wild, Okay, it reflects who they are. Pronouncing your name again, Precious. Okay, y'all better start paying me. Y'all want to really be saying stuff like that. Y'all better stop playing. Okay, so number 7. So number 7, another thing that another step that you guys need to do if you're ready to get married, you want to prepare for marriage, or you're dating to marry, and you want to build healthy leisure and bonding rituals together. So you are getting to know a partner. This is what I kind of just discussed just a minute ago. But couples who intentionally engage and share leisure time, which could look like being like restful time, playful time, at being adventurous, social, or even growth-based activities, report higher intimacy, lower conflict, and deeper satisfaction in their marriage. So leisure does not have to be luxury all the time. It's more focused on emotional maintenance. And in all reality, leisure should be prioritized daily. It doesn't have to be 3-4 hours every single day, but just like 20 to 30 minutes sitting down with your partner to see like, okay, what are how is your day? You know, let's eat over dinner. Let's eat at the table. Let's eat over dinner. Those are leisurely activities. So you can do regenerative leisurely activities, which looks like taking naps together, being still together, just thinking together, going out into the nature walks, walking together. Those are leisurely activities. Growth activities could look like learning together. So maybe you and your partner that you're dating go to take a class, a pottery class, or some type of class like a financial literacy class, whatever you're interested in. Or it could look like creating, painting, and being adventurous, doing different things like that. It can look like cooking together or any other daily rituals that you'll be interested in, or just going out and hanging out with groups of friends. So if couples don't share time, if they're not sharing laughter and pleasure, the relationship becomes functional instead of an alive thing that's being grown through bonding experiences. So, you know, make sure that you're building healthy leisure activities with your partner and anybody that you're dating, because that's going to, okay, there we go. That is going to, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, well. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, y'all. I just accidentally unhid somebody. I didn't know you could do that. There we go. I need to block them. That's what I was trying to do. So you want to make sure that even by yourself, you have 2 to 5 hours a day of leisurely activities. Whether that's right when you wake up in the morning and you're spending like a couple of hours to yourself, or even during the afternoon, maybe you go out and you write, or you just, you know, sit outside, have a picnic, whatever you have for yourself. But you want to make sure that you have within those 2 to 5 hours of leisurely activities, you're spending some of that with your partner or the person that you're dating. And you want to make sure that your partner is okay with spending their free time with you. Because when you are preparing for marriage, that's going to be a big indicator on if you guys are able to live cohesively and harmoniously, is if you guys are able to and you guys want to spend y'all's free time together. If they don't want to spend free time with you, that's a big red flag. They tell them they have a little extra time and they're not thinking about spending it with you, that's a big red flag. So something else that you can do, number 8. Was he ready? Okay. So, number 8. Another thing that you want to do is practice interdependence. Again, marriage is for 2 autonomous people who have visions and goals for themselves, who want to build a legacy, especially through the legal routes, through the state, through the government. And they want that to be something that their future children's children can benefit and reap the rewards from what they did. It's an investment. So you want to make sure that you as an individual have interdependence. And that means 2 independent people choosing each other daily. Codependence is 2 people who fuse together. That means their identity relies on the other. if your identity relies on another person, or that you need validation in order for you to be confident in yourself, you're probably not a autonomous person. So if you're losing yourself in relationships, that probably means that you're more codependent. And you want to make sure that you prepare to be interdependent and not codependent. You don't want to have to rely on another person to validate you or keep you living. Jules said, my values, punctuality and accountability with some communication. Okay, we got, yeah, those are some good values, because I hate people. You only got so much time to be late. You can be a little bit on BP time, but a couple of hours is too much. You know, you may be 5-10 minutes late, but okay, we get to a point. So I agree. So healthy preparation means learning how to set boundaries, support each other without self-abandonment. You know, that doesn't mean that you're giving up who you are in order to be supportive of somebody. You know, you can compromise in a relationship. One person wants to go play pro football, but you want to stay home and take care of your family. If you plan on being married to somebody, y'all have to figure out a way to compromise without you losing your whole life and them losing their whole passions. Those are real things that some people have to figure out. Another one is hold individuality and partnership together. So you have to learn how to balance being interdependent and being in a we mindset and still be who you are. And then again, saying we without losing your identity. You know, one of the biggest things that healthy partnerships have is they have we mindsets, we communication. We like to do this. We are doing this. This is what we are doing, right? But you don't want to forget that within that we is still two independent individuals, two autonomous individuals. My wife used to always tell me it's easy to leave and walk away, but try and fight for your relationship. That's the battle. Was married in life is try and build with someone from all aspects in life, spiritual and emotionally. Okay, so you said the hardest thing is to try and build with someone from all aspects in life, spirituality, emotionally, and etc. Men can learn a lot from women, especially with opening up and learning to be vulnerable. Okay. So that was the hardest thing for you when it came to marriage, Jules Charles. Any other advice you got for us, friend? Anything else you want to let us know? Let us know. Good morning. Sometimes being vulnerable does not work. It depends on who you with. Because if you can't be vulnerable, well, when you say it does not work, what do you mean it does not work? Because what's the purpose of you being vulnerable? Like, vulnerability shouldn't have, like, the purpose of being vulnerable is for clarity. Like, it shouldn't be like no other real purpose of being vulnerable except for clarity of what's going on. Like, this is who I am. Do you believe it can make or break a relationship? I mean, hey, M Daddy Gang. Welcome back, friend. Okay, y'all. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It just depends. Everybody's a little different. It depends on y'all's values. Is that valuable to you? If it is, it can break the relationship. For some people, it's not as valuable. But we want to prepare to create a union and a co-vision. And we don't want marriages to fail where two people disappear and it becomes two separate worlds. You can have your own world and they have their own world, but there needs to be a fusion together. So we don't ever want to miss the fusion, and that's the importance of practicing interdependence. You have to know that you're still an independent person, but sometimes you will depend on another person to co-create a life together. Number 9. Oh, well, let me do this one. Number 9 is know your core values. Are we on number 9? Let me make sure. Yeah, we're on number 9. We're on number 9, y'all. The 9th step that you need to do if you're preparing for marriage, and you're dating to marry, is know your core values in your life vision. Hi, Lauren. So marriage joins 2 operating systems. If your values conflict, which values could be family, money, spirituality, the lifestyle, gender roles, parenting, if any of those values are conflicting, commitment becomes a warfare. Y'all feel like y'all are against each other instead of a partnership. So values determine decision making. In long-term relationships are made up of thousands of decisions. Y'all are going to be making decisions for the rest of y'all's life. So we want to make sure that when y'all are making decisions, the decisions are based on y'all's shared values. And there will be times where you'll have to compromise, but if you guys have similar shared values, it will be less compromising because the decisions will be based on those values. Hey, Unique, welcome back. Thank you, friend. And so people who can articulate their values, which it could be like health, growth, integrity, peace, family, or even ambition, which ambition is a good value to have, y'all. And if they can articulate, which means say their life vision, that will support them in sorry, y'all. That will support them in dating more intentionally and avoid incompatible partners. So that could look like someone saying, I want a peaceful home. I want to have 2 kids. I don't really want to experience chaos because I value peace. I want to spend as much time with my partner because I value leisure and I value building a bond with my partner. I want to be active in the community and I want financial stability. That's all showing your values, and that's one sentence. If those are all your core values, that is one sentence to say, this is who I am. And it's how that person responds shows how compatible you guys are in a relationship. So knowing your values helps you recognize someone else's values very quickly. It's not by what they say, but by what they consistently do. Value alignment predicts longevity far more than chemistry. It predicts longevity far more than aesthetics or even having similar hobbies. So if you know your values, you can say, well, this person doesn't value it, so it may become a conflict in the future. That doesn't mean that this person is not a good person. It just means that you guys are not compatible. And that means that you're not going to be able to come together and co-create life in a harmonious way. It may be a lot of conflict in co-creating life. Remember, marriage is not about love initially. Marriage is about co-creating a future to build a legacy and to build finances, wealth, property. It's for your children to pass on your legacy to your children, to your family, to be a community staple, So this is what you want to think about before you just go and be like, well, I love this person so much. I love this person. They make me feel so happy. Well, are y'all's values aligned? That person who you love so much values freedom and they want to travel and move to a different city every year. But you value family and you want to make sure that you are around your parents and grandparents as they get older. Well, those values conflict and it's going to be, y'all not going to be as compatible as time goes. Because if that person ends up moving and living and staying in that one city, that could go against who they feel like they want to be in this lifetime. So, and like Demented said, Demented don't want kids. You get with somebody who values creating family, they want to have 6 kids. That's a direct incompatibility. All ties back into communication. Yep. So it all depends. You want to make sure that y'all's values are aligned. That's why I asked you guys, what are your values today? I want to make sure that you guys know your values so you can communicate them clearly. So, and I also had a values quiz that I found. I liked it, but I feel like some of the value quizzes that I saw are not like as exact as I would like them to be. Because for me, I'm like, y'all know my biggest one is like education and learning, and they don't have that on here. But I'm going to give y'all this test. I like it because they have a lot of supportive answers. Here's this test if y'all want to take it for yourself and y'all want to figure out if y'all are trying to figure out y'all's values. That's what y'all y'all better stop. I'm about to go and eat because honestly I haven't eaten anything since this morning. I'm a little hungry, so you better stop it, J Gold Rise. My mouth is watering. Y'all know what I'm about to go eat. Why not? I told you I would sleep. You know, I ate this morning, took me a good old nap, and I woke up and I said, let me get up and start preparing for life. I ate this morning. Y'all know what I ate? I saw this thing. Hold up. I'm too hungry to be thinking about food, but I'm going to tell y'all. So I made this thing that I saw on the internet. And so they put like tomatoes, feta cheese, and like hella seasoning. And it's like fettuccine noodles, and you mix it all together. So that's what I ate this morning. Like, well, for lunch. I ate it for lunch. So I think I'm gonna go get me a little steak maybe for dinner. I don't know. Let's go see. Y'all know I've been really into the steak lately, so we're gonna go get a little steak. Did I eat breakfast? I did. I ate breakfast. I did. Thank you guys for asking and worrying about me so much. I ate cereal, and I ate, y'all know those little pancake sausage sticks? That's what I ate for breakfast. Mind you, I don't usually eat cereal, y'all. Like, cereal is like a pleasure meal for me. But since I've been on like a little break, I said, you know, I'm gonna eat cereal over the break. Goal said, you, me, Ruth, Chris, let's get it. Okay, Sawgrass. Okay, y'all, that's what I was gonna ask y'all. What's the steakhouses I need to go to? Y'all know I never used to eat steak, so I'm getting into steak. So the only thing that I've eaten steak-wise is from Outback Steakhouse, because that's the closest like place to me. But I was like, what's some other steakhouses I need to go to? Now that I'm a steak eater, I'm going to the steakhouses. You going to Sawgrass at 8? That's what you're saying? Outback is trash? Yeah. I think because the only thing that I've been eating is like they have a little steak, and that's been really good, honestly. And they baked potatoes are really good. But the first time I went, I got like one of the cheaper steaks, and it was not good. I didn't like it. But yeah, y'all give me some little places to go so I can check them out. Okay, overseas client. I'm telling y'all, Andrew gonna put y'all onto the money. So let's do number 10. The last thing that you need to do. If you are dating to marry, you want to prepare for marriage. This is one of the last steps. There's many things that you can continue to do to become a better person. But this is a really good one to do, which is prepare for commitment. Marriage is not a thing of convenience. It's a thing of commitment. So marriage is not a feeling. You don't want to make emotional decisions. And sometimes we get into these moves that last for a long time, and they become your emotional state of being. We don't want to allow that to be a hindrance to the longevity of your marriage. So, you know, marriage is a sustained commitment to a shared direction, shared values, shared responsibilities, and shared legacy. The couples that last are the couples who enter marriage with clarity about these things. We don't want to enter into a law-abiding legal document that includes fusing two families together. We don't want to do that without knowing what's going on and why we're doing it. And so we want to know, what's the purpose of us being married? You know, are we having children together? Are we building wealth together? How are we doing these things? What are our roles? Are we traditional, or are we want to have more modern roles? How do we want our family structure to be? How do we want our lifestyle to be? What faith or worldview do we have? Do we agree on it? Not every marriage do you have to have the same exact religion, but at least if you have a common core understanding of your spirituality and faith, that will keep you guys anchored into a healthy, committed relationship. What are your parenting expectations? Do you whoop your children? Do you scream at your kids? Are you a soft life parent where you Hey, little Johnny, please don't do that again. Or are you going to yell at your children? How are we going to handle money? What are our money roles? How do we have conflict? How do we deal with conflict? Am I okay with how this person deals with conflict? Am I okay with how I deal with conflict? How are we going to handle aging, getting older? You know, what boundaries do we have with our extended family? And what are we okay with our daily routines? You know, that's going to be a big factor, is everything that someone's doing in their day-to-day life. You wake up and you see your boyfriend playing video games every day. Are you going to be okay with him doing that when y'all are married? And you're watching him play video games, but you cleaning the house? Because typically most days you clean the house, and then on most days he's playing video games. Let's not think it's going to change. I mean, life changes, but let's look at somebody for who they are at this very moment. So commitment, you know, it doesn't mean that sometimes y'all not going to need a break and like take space from each other. It's about continuously choosing the relationship's health, the bond that you create together, choosing to maintain a healthy bond and make sure that bond is prioritized over individual thinking and emotional needs in any moment, right? That bond is what's going to keep y'all's relationship together. So you have to nurture that bond as if it's your child, as it's your passion project, it's your business. Number one. So definitely prepare for marriage and prepare for a harmonious marriage where you guys are on the same page majority of the time. Rare says, my values come from my actions. Demented said, I would argue having kids is more committed than marriage. For sure. Because they come out that hoo-ha. You can't take them back. Or at least with a marriage, you can go get a divorce. Goal, you said, Steak 48th, Ruth Chris in Delmonico. I definitely heard of Ruth Chris before. Let me see. Delmonico. Where are you at, Delmonico? They say pizza. It's an Italian steakhouse in the United States. Okay, Italian steakhouse. I don't think I've ever heard of this place before. Oh, it looks cute. Okay. They have it in New York and Florida. I'm not in those places. I'm leaving 14 minutes from now. Okay, Andrew is precise on time. I love that for you. Be honest. Okay. Honesty is key. Thomas said, my values are positively adaptable, meaning I always seek more ways to be of service to others or more ways to help Earth. That's cute. Your man gonna be happy. Boy, you said that. Hello, Steaks. Steaks, we talk about steaks. Steaks is high as here. Hello, Tina. You have the internet. Hey, Sivan. No, Siva Balan. Siva. I'm just going to call you Siva. Welcome back, Siva. You've been here before. Hey, friend. Y'all make sure y'all like the live, y'all. So those are the 10 ways to prepare for marriage or to date for marriage. I really want to emphasize understanding your values. I think I really want to do more in-person, hands-on, like discussing values with you guys. I think a lot of you guys will be interested in that because self-awareness is key in creating the life that you want. And if you want to have a great life, you just need to know who you are and what your values are. It will lead you in the direction that you need to go. So some of the things, if you've been thinking like, how do I need to know my values? I did put the quiz in the chat for you guys if you want to look that up. But sometimes you think about, what are some things that really been irritating me lately? I hate when these people are late all the time. Well, maybe you value punctuality. I hate when people have all this free time and they're not doing something creative with it. Well, maybe you value creativity. Thank you, 9109. What are the things that get you irritated, angry? What are some things that you sacrifice for? What are you sacrificing sleep for? What are some things that you regret? That's going to show you. So I came up with some examples so you guys can get a hands-on idea. So Ava is a nonprofit program director. She constantly seeks feedback, signs up for new management courses, and is often mentoring junior staff in her organization. Ava values growth, education, and contribution. Her focus on learning and developing others suggests a high value on growth and education. Her role in mentoring shows a value for contribution or social impact. We have Ben, who is a freelance graphic designer. He takes on fewer projects than his peers, but spends extra time perfecting the client's vision and won't launch a project until he feels it's truly unique. So Ben values quality, creativity, and autonomy. Obviously, he doesn't value doing the work, like, working hard, right? I'm not saying work hard, but overworking himself and just getting work done. He values the quality of the work, which is why he doesn't take on as many projects. So prioritizing perfection and uniqueness over volume points to a high value on quality and creativity. Being a freelancer often reflects a value for autonomy and freedom in his work process. And then we have Chloe, who is a corporate lawyer. She regularly declines invitations for after-hour work events and takes a full, uninterrupted lunch hour to call her family, even during high-pressure trials. So Chloe values a work-life balance. She values family and she values boundaries. So her firm and consistent establishments of limits around work time indicates that work-life balance and family are non-negotiable, suggesting a high value on boundaries. So those are some ways that you can see people's values from an external example. So even for yourself, you can look at, what are my values in my own personal life? What am I prioritizing? What am I spending money on? Where am I spending money on? When I do go out and I enjoy my time, where am I going? So that's what I want to end this live with, so you guys know that. Rigo said, I hate able-bodied people being lazy. Andrew said, I hate people acting slow. Like, bruh, it's not rocket science. Andrew. Dementia said, don't confuse genuine struggle with laziness, Rico. What? Andrew, no, don't do it, please. Okay. That doesn't do anything productive. Get up and do something. Get up and go get some sunlight. Okay. So, y'all, do y'all have anything else y'all want to add to the conversation that is on topic? Anything on topic that you guys want to add to the conversation? How do you guys feel? Like, this is our last video on marriage. I know my day ones have been here. How do y'all feel about marriage? I probably should have did a before and after. How do you feel about marriage now? How do you feel about marriage later? Because I definitely feel like I'm more prepared to date and be intentional. I've definitely had people ask me questions. Like, people's favorite question to ask me is, why are you single? Like, that, people love asking me that question as if I don't know. People love asking me that question. And my answer is always, because I never intentionally dated people. When you come from a single mother and most of the women around you were single mother, it subconsciously programs you to not think about long-term commitments and not see the value in that. So as an adult, I had to do the work, the inner work, to overcome those programmings that I consumed as a child and be more intentional about my life. So it took me a while, but I'm an adult, and now I understand that I have the opportunity to do these things if I so please. And so going through this conversation, I can be honest and say, I now know how to be intentional when it comes to partnership and being with someone. Because if you was raised, that's why so many single parent home children have a hard time in relationships, in commitment, because they don't really know how to do it, nor do they see the value. Okay, Andrew, be safe, friend. Action said, marriage ain't worth it due to selfishness, greed, and ignorance. Just my opinion, though. Okay, I'm glad you said not a day one. Thank you. Thank you for your opinion, though. You said, I know I'm dating for marriage and not for sex. If you understand that, cool. If not, wasn't meant for you too. Yeah. Tink said, about to go through a divorce is not all it seems to be. Tell us more, Tink. We need more people who are in the game to explain these things. John said, stay safe and dangerous. I cannot. Y'all are hilarious. So, I will say, as someone who's never been married, I will say I don't think marriage is easy, but I don't think it's supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be shits and giggles, you know? It's supposed to be serious. But I would like to know if you guys have been through a marriage where you're, unhappy, or you are going through a divorce. Did you guys have the same values? How much did you prepare for marriage, before you guys got married? Those are the things that I'm interested in knowing, because of the research that we did. It points to that's what's leading to a lot of people's divorce. So I want to know if that aligns to you, or if any of these things align to you in general, or if it's like a completely different situation that we never even talked about. Hey, Walter. So, yeah, y'all. I'll put some emojis in the chat for y'all. Hello from Turkey. There y'all go. So to prepare for Sunday's conversation, I will not be on here Friday. But to prepare for Sunday's conversation, we're going to start talking about health. I am still getting it together. I'm being honest with you guys. But I have the direction in which I'm taking this. And I'll give you guys a little bit of a hint. So when you look up the etymology of health, and I said this earlier, but I'm going to say it again so you guys have an understanding about it. Health is wholeness, being whole, sound, or well. So you look deeper into that, which whole, uninjured, good omen. Those are some of the definitions for health. And so when you think about what interrupts one's ability to be healthy, or what interrupts someone's ability to be whole, looking into the etymology, y'all know I like to base most of my stuff on etymology first. The thing that interrupts someone's wellness or health is sin, is what I'm seeing. Sin. You guys are sinners. No, I'm playing. So sin is what is that I've seen based on the etymology of well. I looked into well. And that is what led me to see that. And then when you look into sin, the etymology of sin, it is a violation of divine law, offense against God, or moral wrongdoing. It also is injury, mischief, enmity, fuel, guilt. Y'all know I'm not religious, but sin is real. Yeah, sin is a religious construct. Y'all know I'm not religious, but I'm very much a spiritual person, and I do believe in spiritual laws. So if we're going to look into it, I was trying to figure out, I'm not Christian, so I'm not going to go by the Bible, because it talks about the violation of divine laws. And there are natural laws to this world. So some of the things that I was looking into is the natural laws of the body, as well as the universal laws. So I was looking into mixing those laws together to create a conversation around health, and also being direct about the America's health, like America's food, and how that disrupts our ability to have a healthy diet. On our, what else? Our circadian rhythm. So those are some of the things that we're going to get into when we talk about health. And I just wanted to give you guys a little peep into the conversation so you guys can understand. Of course, it will be divided into like 8 videos, maybe 9, depending. MD, what you confused about? What you confused about? But yeah, I'm giving you guys a little peep into the conversation. Hey warrior, welcome back, welcome back. How have you been? African values are too much. Are you African? What made you say that? Okay. But y'all, that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you like the video if you haven't had the chance to like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Gotta get them all. Y'all are hilarious. I'm glad y'all having fun in the chat. It's a lot for y'all to do. Shout out to my mods. I appreciate you guys so much for all the work you do. Y'all been on it because for some reason they be going crazy in the chat. But I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here for today. I'm glad we were able to have this conversation. And for anybody who is preparing for marriage, let's choose marriage for the right reasons. Marriage is not about love, how much you love somebody and you want to commit to them because you love them. Marriage is about having similar core values so that you guys can direct y'all's life and co-create it together. And you guys can build a legacy and invest in that legacy for your children's children or for whatever life that you want to make together. If you do not have children, you know, people don't, just because you're married does not mean you have to have children, but however you want to co-create your life with your partner, whatever that leads to is the most important thing. Make sure you guys have a shared vision that you guys can communicate about and you guys are passionate about. That's going to be more important, and it will lead to you guys having a satisfying marriage based on the research. So that's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Love you too, John. I'll see you guys Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Be outside. Be outside or get left behind. See you later.